There is something about cobblers that just warms the cockles of your heart. It reminds me of going to my nan's place. Sunday we'd have a roast for lunch, then we'd either have apple pie, apple crumble, or cobbler for dessert. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna recreate that feeling you get after a Sunday roast lunch. We're gonna do a mixed berry cobbler with a little vanilla on top. Now from my understanding, with a lot of dishes that have stood the test of time, just like cobbler, this is about having fruit that was getting really, really close to its use by date, and then having a larder component that sits on top of that. So things that again you have to use within time or that are really, really cheap. So first we've got our fruit mixed berries, pop them into a big bowl. And I'm gonna add to that a little bit of maple syrup for some sweetness. I'm gonna add some sugar as well. This is amaretto, so that beautiful nutty flavour and sort of that sour cherry flavour you get from amaretto, which I absolutely love. The juice of an orange, which we'll pop in as well. And then I am going to add, as I said, a little bit of sugar because the berries will be quite tart. Not a lot, I still want it to be quite tart. The cake mixture, the batter that sits on top is going to be nice and sweet. Our juice goes in, then spoonful of caster sugar. Maybe we go a spoonful and a half, so 1.5 tablespoons. And then a spoonful of flour because we don't want it to be really watery. I want this to almost make a sauce around the berries as it cooks out. So mix all that together. And as that flour cooks out underneath our cobbler mix, that sauce will thicken up. So we're almost making our own little roux. Oh, the amaretto in there is divine. All right, I'm gonna sit that there and get onto our cake. Normal cake mixture. So we've got some butter, which has been softened. Some sugar, the leftover caster sugar that we had. And I'm just gonna beat them together until it's really light and fluffy. So about 5 minutes it'll take. The butter and sugar has completely changed colour. It's nice and white, it's really fluffy. So now we can add our eggs in one at a time. Just wait until each egg is incorporated before you add the next one. Now if you've got large eggs, you'll get by with 2, but these are nice and small, so I'm gonna need 3. Eggs are incorporated now, so I'm just gonna turn it down. I'm going to add in some vanilla paste, about a tablespoon of vanilla paste. Some cinnamon, about a teaspoon of cinnamon. This is baking powder, which I'm going to put in with my flour, about half a teaspoon of baking powder to add in with our self-raising flour. It's a signpost where we're up to. If you are playing along at home and you've got your notepad, we had about 220 grams of caster sugar, about 25 of those grams went into our berries. We had 240 grams of the flour and about 40 grams went in with our berries. So we've got about 200 grams of sugar with 100 grams of butter in there. And we're now adding in about 200 grams of flour in there as well. Now the mixture will start to thicken up. We've got a little bit of milk, about 125 mils of milk, which we're going to add in just to loosen it up at the end. Put in this last little bit of flour. There's all of our flour in, and now we've got our milk, 125 mils of milk, which I'm just going to drizzle in a little bit at a time. So we end up with a looser batter. And then that batter just goes on top of our berries, and we go into the oven. Now the oven's set at about 180 degrees, and it will take about 40 minutes. And you're just waiting until your sponge on top, your cake, is cooked. Now once that batter comes together, we can turn it off. And that is our beautiful cobbler batter done. Then take our bowl out. I'm just going to scrape down the sides so I know everything is mixed in. Now to assemble. Now I've got 2 sizes of trays here. You can go with the small one, which is probably going to feed 3 hungry people and fill it right up, or you can go a little bit bigger and you'll get a few more people out of it. So we'll go the big one. I'll tip our berries in. So you can see it started to thicken up already, that berry mix. Spread that out. And then we just put our cake batter on top of that. Cake batter goes on top. Just work that all the way to the edges. Now that, the smell, the way that looks reminds me of Sunday lunches. After the roast, as I said, this is the best bit. This is what I went to Sunday lunch for, to get the cobbler. Now this bit here, all that fruit meets that sponge, it's nice and gooey. That's what I love. Remember, cook like you don't have to clean. See ya.